Alright guys, we are on lesson 4.6 and now we are going to look at multiplying a decimal by a decimal. So it's decimal multiplication. We will use a model in this lesson, and then after that we will use the standard algorithm. So let's look at our problem right here. And it says the distance from Carson's house to the school is 0.6 miles. He rides his scooter 7/10 of that distance. How far does he ride his scooter? There's a word here I want to underline, and that is of. We need to remember that of means multiply. So we have two decimals here. We have 0.6 miles, and that's how far to the school it is, and he's riding his scooter 7/10 of that distance. And so it's 7/10 of, or 7/10 times 0.6. So we're going to use a chart to solve this. We have our hundredths chart, where each little square equals a hundredth, or each column equals a tenth. And so we have 1/10 and 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, all the way to a whole number. So let's look at this. It says, what decimal value does each column represent? That is 1/10. So if we look at the second step right here, let's zoom in here. It says, use a pencil to shade the columns on the grid to represent the distance from Carson's house to the school. So if we look at the problem, the distance from Carson's house right here to the school is 0.6 miles. And so the distance, let's write that down, is 0.6 miles. And since that's 6/10, we will color in 6/10 columns. If you remember, each one of these boxes is a hundredth, and a column is a tenth, and we have 6/10, and so we need to color in that many columns. So I'm going to grab a color here. I'll grab yellow, and I need to color in 6/10. So that's 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10. Okay. Let's go to step 3. It says use a pencil and shade the columns, or this time we'll probably do the rows. And so that's a typo that I need to fix. So that should be rows. So use a pencil and shade the rows that represent how far he rides his scooter. So let's look at this. How far does he ride his scooter? He rides his scooter 7/10. Okay. So let's write that down. The distance he rides his scooter is 7/10, and that would be 7 rows, because each row is a tenth, and so 7/10 would be 7 rows. Okay. And so I did columns this way. Since I went down to do my 7, I'm going to go across. So what I want to do is I want to get a different color so it shows up, and I'll do 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, and 7/10. And my last step says count the number of squares that have both colors. So I go over here, and I can see that some of the squares have the yellow and the blue. And maybe what I'll do is I'll just use my blue and I'll color that in more fully. So this is full all the way to here, because I have yellow and blue. And it looks like it does that all the way down to here. So I'm just going to color this in. And if I did this right, and I colored the rows correctly, this big solid box right here will be my answer, because I did 6/10 down multiplied by 7/10. And so let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows. And so I have 7 times 6, which is my array, which is 42. And so he rides his scooter 42 hundredths, because this is my hundredths chart again. If you remember our hundredths chart from the other lesson, and we just count the boxes that are colored in, and there's 42 of the hundredth boxes. So if we go to the next page, here we are, you'll see that we're just doing some multiplication problems using decimals. So we have the first one, 6/10 times 8/10. So ask yourself, okay, how many tenth columns do I fill in on both of these? And so one of them will be your columns, and the other number will be your rows. It doesn't matter which one you use. And just to help you out a little bit, we'll look at this bottom one, and we have 1.4 times 0.5. And so since we have a full box, which is the 1, that's why we have 2 boxes here, because 1.4 will obviously take a full 1 plus 4/10 of a box. So color those, see if you can figure it out. If not, I can help you in class. And that's lesson 4.6. See you tomorrow.